Welcome to the REI Hacker Podcast, where we unlock the secrets of real estate success. Join us as we dive into the journeys of top investors, mentors, and industry experts. And now, let's hand it off to our host, Benson Juarez.
Welcome, everybody. Thank you so much for being here on this edition of the REI Hacker Podcast. Really excited for my next guest. Her name's Amy Mahjoory. She is we've been friends for about 3 or 4 years now. We go back a little ways. Amy is a real estate investor, educator. She's an HGTV personality, best-selling author, and a keynote speaker. And she's the founder of RPM, an education company that teaches others how to raise private money. Amy's been investing in real estate for over the last 12 years. And during that time, she's raised millions of dollars in private money for hundreds of real estate transactions all across the country. Amy, thank you so much for being here. I really appreciate it. Thanks for joining. It's my pleasure to have you here.
Thank you, Benson. I'm excited to be here and just share whatever knowledge and experiences I can with you and your audience.
Yeah, so it's really cool because I've only known you in your RPM world. But you didn't start out in real estate. Like, you spent 14 years as the global commodity manager for Dell Computers. Sounds really important.
Like, whatever that means.
Yeah, I'm logistics, moving things around, project management, all the stuff that probably translates well into real estate. But what was the tipping point for you where you realized that corporate America just wasn't for you?
Yeah, I realized the game changer for me was it's about 14 years ago. I was 32 years old, and I was just finally tired of the corporate hustle. I could have cared less about climbing the corporate ladder. Corporate America, Dell was very good to me, but corporate America was just something I fell into because that's what you do. You go to school, you go to college. I went on to get a graduate degree. And you just get a job that pays a secure and stable paycheck. And I never loved it. I could have cared less about making sure that Amazon got their replacement hard drive next business day. Like, I often compare myself to Milton from Office Space. For those of you who haven't seen Office Space, watch it. So,
Red stapler guy.
yeah. And everything that happened, to today was never supposed to happen. Like, I didn't see any of this happening. So I basically I went to a real estate conference, to a seminar in 2012. I heard this ad on a radio, give us all your money, we'll teach you how to flip houses. And I was like, great idea. But really, because I was addicted to all those home renovation shows and I wanted to just flip 1 or 2 houses just for fun. So I went to this seminar. I'm very competitive. I'm a former athlete, super strong type A personality. And even though I meant to just treat this as a side hustle, I invested in a coaching program, and they taught me everything from A to Z on building your team, interviewing contractors, analyzing deals, flipping properties, marketing for leads. And because I'm a former athlete, I'm very good at just following systems and rules and just tell me what to do. So I was the perfect quote unquote student, had a ton of tremendous immediate success. And this is just, to me, everyone's experiences are different, but back in 2013, my goal was I want to flip 1 or 2 houses just for fun while I pursued what I thought was my dream job with Nike. And because I had this undiscovered skill set of knowing how to raise capital, on accident, I ended up buying, renovating, and selling 10 properties in downtown Chicago as a brand new part-time real estate investor while still working my full-time job at Dell. So at the end of that first year, 2 things happened. Number 1, I did unexpectedly, genuinely fall in love with the transformation process. And I've been flipping houses ever since. I'll flip houses for the rest of my life. And number 2, yeah, I saw the earning potential and I saw how there was no cap to my financial ability to make as much as I wanted. And I quit my job and became a full-time real estate investor ever since. Now, all that said, you guys, plenty of failures along the way, made a ton of money, lost it all. So it's not just the wins that I'm going to talk about and pretend like everything's been honky-dory ever since, because it's been tough at times.
Yeah. Well, now that you brought it up,
Now
what were
what?
some of the early, downturns or mistakes that you made that caused you to lose some of those, the revenues that you were earning from those flips? Like, where did things go
Yeah,
sideways?
I'm very transparent about it. I often talk about how 2017 was the hardest year of my life, personally and professionally. And again, everyone's experiences are different. I ended up losing $1.4 million. And looking back now, at the time, I didn't realize this. I was a few years into my career. I had kind of set the foundation for all of the investors in Chicago for being able to take on high-end luxury flips, because a lot of people didn't know how to raise capital. So they didn't have access to unlimited funds. So I ended up branching out into this market of downtown Chicago where nobody had tapped into. And it wasn't ego, it was just confidence. I was too confident, number one. And so what I mean by that is I started to buy deals that were risky, but I was too naive to realize that they were risky. So when I buy a flip, I have this detailed deal analyzer. I don't buy anything unless my net ROI is 10%. At the time, I was still following a rule of a net ROI of 15%. But because I was buying these distressed homes at, $1 million, I would look at my net ROI and it was projected to be 6 or 7%, which was too risky. But the dollar amount was like 200,000, 150,000. I was like, dang. And I saw the dollar amount and I was like, buy, buy, buy. So I bought
Mhm.
10 luxury properties within 3 blocks of one another at a 6% ROI. So that was the mistake. It wasn't buying 10 within 6 months within 3 blocks of one another. It was the ROI. The data wasn't supportive of what I was doing, but I didn't realize that because I was looking at the wrong variable. So, anyways, I
Mm.
lost all this money. I saturated the market. I incurred 20 change orders. And it sucked. Like, I don't know how else to say it. I didn't actually consider, I thought about filing for bankruptcy. Um, I thought about just walking away from all my private money lenders. But what I never thought about doing was quitting. I never
Mm.
once thought about exiting the real estate industry, which is so crazy because I see that happening all the time now with other people. And again, we're all just different, right? But I remember one of my hard money lenders calling me and he's like, I'm so sorry. What are you going to do now? And I didn't understand the question. I was like, what do you mean? I've shifted into the low to middle income price points. I'm brokering deals. I'm wholesaling more. And he's like, oh, I thought you were just going to quit. And I was like, no, dude, you just shift your strategy. And so it took me a long time. But what's so crazy is like when you know how to treat people, when you know how to take care of a private money lender, when you know how to raise capital the right way, all except two. I had about 20 PMLs who were impacted. They would call and cry with me. They would send me inspirational quotes. They apologized. They were insanely patient as it took me years to pay them back. Um, Many of them got back just their principal, but still, I didn't have to do that, right? Because legally, when you set it
Right.
up the right way, if you lend me money, Benson, and I lose, I don't have to pay you back. It's an investment, right? Um, today there might be maybe three who got back like 90% of their principal. But yeah, it was hard, but I just pivoted and so RPM was born at the height of COVID because so many people from around the world were asking me for help on solving the money problem. A lot of people don't know how to raise capital the right way from the right people. And so that's
Mhm.
why I started helping people and that was also an accident. I was never supposed to create this global coaching program, but
Yeah, that
um
was gonna be my next question. So you had this ton of success, right? And you had some downturns, but somehow both of those scenarios, you decided, okay, I need to get this word out there. Like I need to help people who were probably having the same problems that I had by creating this coaching program, right? How did that come about?
yeah, at first, I mean, for the first, I don't know, 4 to 6 years of my real estate career, people were asking me for help. And I'm like, no, no, no. Like, I don't have time for that. I'm so busy. I was still systematizing my own business. And really what happened was at the height of COVID, when the entire world shut down, I wasn't traveling anymore. My deals were on autopilot. because I'd built the right power team. I got bored and I said to my husband, who does the same thing as me, but we don't work together. I was like, babe, everyone's asking me for help. And even during those tough times when I lost all that money, I still wouldn't trade it for the world. Because once, and you know this, Benson, right? Once you know how to make money in real estate, it's so freaking easy. It can be to rebuild, right? And make exponentially more. So real estate became my game changer and it changed my life positively in so many ways. And when I saw how many people were struggling with the money piece, even experienced real estate investors, I was like, this is crazy because it's so easy for me. I was like, you guys, you can do this. Like, I'm a product of coaching, right? So I wanted to start to change other people's mindsets. I wanted to see their results shift. So I started like going into random Facebook group 4 or 5 years ago and just think, hey, who wants help? And get on phone calls and Zooms. And before I knew it, I just like recorded a bunch of videos and it just turned into this thing. But it's so crazy because within the first 3 hours of just implementing some of the systems I've created, you're raising capital. This doesn't mean you're going to have 100 grand in 3 hours, but you're opening up the conversations from your mailman, your neighbors, people at church, grocery stores, like random strangers are lending you money after a certain time period, after you've educated them, right? And you're just targeting people 24/7 that you never would have thought of prior to RPM. So it's pretty
Right.
cool. It's weird to me to hear people say you've changed my life. I'm like, that's weird. What do you want for lunch? Like
Yeah.
I still can't believe it.
But sometimes it's those little comments that make it all worth it, right? Because obviously
Yeah.
you have some motivation from money, but you could make money other ways, like where you're not helping people and going through all
Yeah.
those headaches. But there's a piece of you that's an educator where you want to help people and you want to see people have success, but you're making it way more difficult on yourself. So you like that piece of it, right?
Yeah, no, I love the teaching side of it. Like now I've been doing this long enough. There are a lot of people in the industry, people who we both know who have approached me and they said, I want to buy RPM from you. I want to mass market RPM. Like I want to blow this up. And I'm like, no. And I love this community because I not only do I love seeing the transformation process, but I love being the teacher and I love the relationships I have. So like everyone who comes into RPM, they don't get in without talking to me. I don't have a sales team. I don't have a marketing team. But at the same time, we don't let anyone just come into the community because you have to be somebody who really wants it, believes in it. Like, I don't want you to think like you're doing me a favor by giving me 10 grand. Like, just understand the power of raising private money. And if you want help growing and scaling, like I will get you to the next level in 21 days.
Mm.
I don't have coaches under me. I can, but I really enjoyed the process. It's 500 investors all over the world. And I literally know every single person on a personal level. And that is fun for me. It's not work.
Yeah. So you must have built quite a community too, because it isn't you talking at people and giving them courses, right? That you've built a community where people can network and learn about each other's successes and failures and support each other through this whole process.
Yeah, it really, and everyone says this, it's so cliche, it's a family. It really is a family. It's not, I always tell everyone it's not my community, it's our community. How can we make it better? How can we do more deals together? We go on vacations together. People come over randomly, unexpectedly for weekend visits or dinner. And it's, I don't know how else to say it. It's like literally, it's my family. So,
Yeah.
and that's why I'm so selective about who I bring into the group. There are people I have respectfully refunded and turned away because that's not fun for me. Look, selfishly, if we're not similar in our vibes and personalities, like I don't want you in the group because that's not fun for me. Like
Yeah.
I've built this to help people, but to also have fun, like holding your hand every step of the way.
Yeah. And you've built a culture that you have to maintain. And one person can ruin that culture and it become
Yeah.
like a disease and it can infest the rest of the group, which the
Yes.
worst outcome out of that is it affects their ability to do what you tell them to do, right? Because they start to have these limiting beliefs like, oh, well, if so and so can't do it, maybe I can't do it. And that it affects the way that they can get an ROI on the money they've invested with you and the group.
Yeah, no, that's true. And I try to keep it as positive as possible. Like tomorrow I have to have a hard conversation in our weekly call about like this is a place for positive vibes, wins, milestones. Don't come on here airing your dirty laundry, complaining about a fellow RPMer. Like, figure your shit out. Deals are, look, you guys, not every deal is gonna, even if it's inside of RPM, you're gonna lose money. You're gonna partner with somebody who's terrible. You gotta understand what you're doing, right? And it's like, but this is all about like lifting each other up and helping each other level up. Um, Most importantly, though, the right way, because I really pride myself. And I was just talking to my husband about this morning. I'm like, everything I teach people, it's authentic, it's unique. I've literally made it up. I don't steal other people's shit. I don't take other people's ideas. I purposely don't even watch other people's educational YouTube videos or become a part of their masterminds on raising private money because I don't want it to I don't want to.
It can affect you subconsciously.
Yeah, like I love how unique it is. And it's like I show people how to literally change their mindset and the words that are coming out of their mouth the minute they walk out their door so that 24/7 they're raising capital from their Uber drivers and they don't even realize it's happening. So it's
Yeah.
cool and I love that and I love how unique it is. And people ask me, why should I go with you and not your competitor? I don't have any competitors. I have zero competitors. So maybe that's ego now, but it's like it's amazing. It's like it really does work.
Yeah. Well, so let's get into like what it is you're teaching here, right? So with RPM, which is raising private money, a lot of people think like, okay, you start with your family and then you
Yes.
go and you get all of their money, and then eventually that money dries up. And then they have to
Yes.
start going out and talking to people they don't know, or people that are in their sphere and they have maybe some tertiary relationship with. But one of your key messages in raising private money is it doesn't have to come from family and friends.
Right. You're
Um, how can you help people break down those barriers and the fear of asking for capital from complete strangers?
well, that's such a loaded question. Okay, I'm very excited. So what you just said is so common, whether we're new or experienced, part-time or full, we always think, oh, I got to go to my friends and family first. Um, how do I ask someone for money? I feel bad. They're doing me a favor by lending me 100,000, or I don't have any experience. No one's going to lend me money. I don't have any rich friends and family members. All those fears and objections are so normal. And I have those same fears and objections in other parts of my life. But it's like confidently raising private money, number one, starts with your mindset. You guys, stop going to your friends and family. Your experience is irrelevant. You're encountering people every minute you walk out your house. The guy right now raking up the leaves at my neighbor's house is a prospective private money lender. What do you say to him? We can talk about that too if you would like. But it's number one, understanding that anyone and everyone you encounter is a prospective private money lender. And number two, you're not asking for anything. And you know this, Benson, you're providing others with an amazing opportunity to invest with you. You're the one offering them double-digit returns backed by real estate. They don't get that in the bank. A lot of them don't get that in the stock market. If they do, it's not secured by the asset. So a lot of it, like the confidence I have today comes from knowledge and education. So it's just educating yourself on these amazing opportunities that you have for others. You're the one doing them a favor, right? By allowing them to invest with you. So I also teach investors, hey, don't just take anyone's money. I don't care how loaded you are. I don't care how deep your pockets are. If I don't like you, I'm not working with you. You, Benson, could offer to lend me $2 million today. If I don't jive with you, if I think you're an asshole, if you're a bully, because I've come across that too. Mostly men who are like bullying me with their money or they've got these power plays. I don't have time for that. So I teach that too, right? Because even with your private money lenders become your friends, they become your family. You go on vacations together, you start going to events together. So we're in real estate to use real estate as our vehicle to achieving financial freedom. I want this to be fun. This isn't corporate America. And that includes the power team you build around yourself, including your private money lenders.
Yeah. Yeah. There's so many moving parts to it. And so for a beginner who's just starting out, what are some of like the foundational, I don't know, skills you teach them? Is it like, okay, here's a script, right?
Yeah.
Go say this. But if it
Yeah.
has to do with a mind shift, like a script isn't going to work, right? You have to give them a whole set
Right.
of tools.
So like, for example, if I think about like the videos I've recorded, the very first module, for example, inside the training, when I talk to anyone is mindset. So how do we squash those mindsets, those limiting beliefs? I give them like a list of a 5-page list of frequently asked questions, like, because we have to know how to answer the hard questions. Have you ever lost money on a deal before? Will you sign a personal guarantee? What happens if the deal goes south? What happens if you pass away? What happens if you don't sell at the price you thought you were supposed to sell? Why have you picked this target market? What type of returns do you look for? Why not get a loan from a bank? Why aren't you using hard money? So all these questions, right? I put that into the very first module where we squash mindset, because that's going to give you a whole nother level of confidence. I've been doing this for 10, 12 years now. 98% of any question I've received from private money lenders, including Wall Street investment bankers to my mailman, is captured in the 6-page list of FAQs. And so investors who come into RPM love that, because they're like, oh, dang, I know this question won't come up for a while now, but I have the answers.
Mhm.
And then for newbies, it doesn't matter actually if you're new or experienced. Like the way I teach you to raise money, it's all the same. Whether you're a contractor, a hard money lender, a flipper, a wholesaler, the very first step, and a lot of you who are listening to this and who are familiar with the way I teach, I've heard this in the past. Step one for the rest of your life is my 4-second power pitch. And all that means is you're just planting seeds and announcing to the world who you are and what you do. So when I leave my house tonight and I go on a date night with Sean and we hop into an Uber, I'm going to purposely ask my Uber driver what they do outside of Uber so that they ask me what I do, just so I can go into my 4-second power pitch, which is I show people how to earn double-digit returns backed by real estate. Now, I don't say it like that. I'm a real estate investor. I flip houses in Austin and Chicago. And I show people how to earn double-digit returns backed by real estate. How about you? What was it you say you do again? It's so nice to meet you. And I just gloss right over it, right? So they're like, what? Huh? What do you mean? Tell me more. So that's step one. There's a ton of YouTube videos, you guys, and things on Instagram. You can go out there and start to like read through the process. But number one is just making it known to everyone what you do.
Right. And that goes into that's your intentional, like, strategic networking approach,
Like my hook, yeah.
right? Like, you're not just out there saying this for the sake of saying it. It's an intentional way of getting people interested in building a network that you can actually leverage, because most people, when they network, it's just like they're just killing time, right? I'm at a place,
Yeah.
I'm going to kill some time, right? Have a couple drinks, have some small
Yes.
talk, and that's networking. But it's not a good use of their time unless they're getting, some feedback, and you start to build a relationship, and then you're building your book of business who you can eventually raise money from, because you may not have a deal at that point, right? Like most people, that's one of
Right.
the challenges. Like, you don't always have a deal.
What you said is amazing. And thank you for reminding me of that, because from here on out, you guys, if you know you want to be a real estate investor, then 100% of the time, you better be intentional with your time, where you're going to network, who you're networking with. That's why nobody even knows this. In 2018, I published a book, best-selling book titled Networking with a Purpose. If you want, Benson, I can give you the link for a free download.
Oh,
And
that'd be amazing.
yeah, and at the time, this is 2018. RPM didn't exist. I wasn't going to start a coaching program. But what I realized was it's all about like how to talk to people, how to respect their time, how to always give first, right? And expect nothing in return. So the law of reciprocity finds its way back to you. So I literally, in this 95-page easy read, give you all these like creative, intentional networking strategies, systems, scripts, tools, workbooks. So download it if you guys want it. And then when I started RPM in 2020, I was like, oh my God, like the foundation, goodness, the foundation of raising capital is networking. It's strategic networking, knowing what to say, what not to say, who to talk to, who to avoid, right? And so module 1 is all about mindset. Module 2 is getting you out of your house, or if you're an introvert, that's okay. Showing you so many different ways to network from the comfort of your own home to start to expand your network so you can plant that 4-second power pitch and start to capture the interest from prospective private money lenders. And then module 3 is, all right, you filled your funnel with all these people saying, yes, cool, tell me more. Well, now what? Well, you got to educate them on your deal analyzer, your power team, your target market, your pitch deck, right? The contracts that you use, your private money tracker, all that stuff. So those are where all the credibility pieces come into play for you to pick and choose from. And so as you go through every module, it's building more and more of your confidence. But everyone loves it because it's completely done for you. I've done it all. Like literally take what I'm giving you and just do it. And it's lifetime access. So in 21 days, they're taking a complete stranger, turning him into somebody they've educated, they've built rapport and trust with, and they're raising 6 figures. So it's a pretty cool metric in our group.
Wow. So was all that content in the download?
Yeah, everything is,
Wow.
well, no, not my book. But that's all in RPM. My book does have 5 networking strategies and workbooks for you to download to start like talking to people and building genuine relationships. I don't have a book on raising private money. I just have my mentorship program.
Got it. So the book is the networking aspect of it, and
Yes.
starting the PML conversations.
Yeah, and just like meeting people, but then RPM is completely done for you, where I give you all the other stuff that you need.
Got it.
It's like what did I used to do in corporate America? Like a process map. If they say no, then do this. If they say yes, then show them this. So
Yeah.
it's like
It's kind of like a
mapped
choose your own
out.
adventure.
Yes, exactly. But yeah, I mean, I could talk about it for days. It's just like, it's very simple when you know what you're doing. And eventually these scripts, these strategies, they're just woven into your day-to-day lifestyle. So you don't have to
Yeah.
like, you're not going to sit behind a desk and raise money for 3 hours. You're just literally changing the words that are coming out of your mouth and the places that you're going every single day.
Right. So PML, right, is typically you're raising money for your own deals. And you mentioned fix and flip. Can some of these strategies be also used for, raising money for like large syndication type deals, like multifamily
Yeah.
properties, or you've got a fund? I told you I launched a fund, and a lot of people out there that are in this path as well. Raising private money can be used for lots of different strategies, right?
Yeah, it's multifamily syndications, fund-to-fund deals, wholesaling because we need transactional funding for double closes, right? BRRRRs, turnkey rentals. Like it's literally anything. I have hard money lenders who have raised millions of dollars coming to me for help because we can all put more money to work. And that's what's so crazy is I have one way, one system of teaching you guys how to raise money, regardless of what your investment strategy is. Now, I don't teach all business. Now, people are like, why don't you target all entrepreneurs? I probably could because it's just networking, but my experience is real estate. So regardless of what your investment strategy is, maybe you're so new and you don't even know what you want to do. Fine, go raise private money and start taking equity in other people's deals as their capital partner. Or I just hung up with somebody, Alex, and I was like, Alex, stop. You got shiny object syndrome. You need money now. You don't have time to wait for equity. That's fine. You don't know what you want to do yet. That's okay. Start raising private money and taking a finder's fee. So that's like a referral fee, the legally correct way of saying, a referral fee. It's a finder's fee. So just by introducing person A to person B, you get a fee. So there are so many things you can do. And with this one skill set, there are so many ways that you can start to generate multiple streams of income in your own business.
Oh yeah. And with money, that generates opportunities too, right? Because if you're out there networking and your whole goal is to raise private money, you're ultimately going to stumble upon some deals. You're going to stumble upon
Yes.
some new opportunities and some things, and unexpectedly, right? Like that's not the goal. But if you go out there and you're talking
Yeah.
about money, you're talking about real estate, those things kind of solve themselves over time.
Yeah. It wasn't until 2022 when I spoke at Clever Summit. Were you there in Las Vegas?
No.
Oh, it was amazing. That was a pivotal moment. Like that was a life-changing moment for me. So I spoke at Cody Sperber's event, Clever Summit 2022. And I remember stepping off stage, his business partner came up to me and goes, "That was amazing. Do you want to raise money for us?" And I was like, "No, I don't." Like that stresses me out. That's a lot of work because they perform at a very high level, high volume. I was like, ain't nobody got time for that. And people who know me know, like, I work 20 hours a week. That's already too much. So I like to work as little as possible and make as much as possible. I don't need you calling me every day asking me for money. And I literally said no. And I didn't have a relationship with, their team back in 2022. Well, then a few days had passed and I was like, Amy, you literally wrote a book on networking. You said no to Cody Sperber's business partner. What is your problem? So I was in Phoenix and I went into their office and I've grown into pretty good friends with his partner, Bryant. And I'm like, and this was so crazy because I value and respect them so much for what they've accomplished, right? And we didn't have a really solid friendship in place at the time, but I remember going to their office and just with such casual, humbling confidence, I was like, all right, like if we're going to do this, then I just want to make sure we're clear. Like, I just want to reach out to you when I've got money sitting on the sidelines. What does the equity splits look like? Like, I can't have you guys calling me every day because that's going to stress me out. And they were both like, cool, no problem, no problem. And I actually hadn't even come up with an equity number in my mind. And I tell people this all the time, like, when you know how to raise capital, you guys, it's insane how much additional revenue you can add to your business. So I said, what do you guys have in mind? They said, any deal that you raise money for, this is just the gap funding. We'll give you 25% equity. And I was like, internally, I was like, dang, girl, that's amazing. Especially aligning myself with somebody like them, right? And I remember asking Cody, I said, I don't understand. Why are you willing to give me 25% equity when you can literally pick up the phone and have $1 million right now? And he said, I don't want to do that. That's not fun for me. I want to go find the next building, find the next business, find the next project. Like, I don't want to spend my time on the phone raising capital. And that makes sense. And I share this with you guys because there are so many people, big name and small, experienced or not, who will gladly give you equity in their deals if you just master this one skill set. And so 2, 3 years ago, if you would have asked me, what's the one thing you wish you would have done differently? I would have been like, nothing. Every win, every failure has made me who I am today. But after 2022, the one thing I wish I would have done differently was started to become somebody's equity partner 10, 12 years ago and added that extra stream of income to my business. So it's mind blowing. Like one of my friends, Chris Champa, he's a part of RPM, and that's how we became friends. He's a full-time lieutenant in Rosedale, California, just on finder's fees, cleared over $80,000 last year. And I'm like,
Wow.
it's crazy, right? That's like someone's full-time salary, more than
Oh
that.
yeah.
So there's so much you can do if you want, if you see the value, right? In having
Yeah.
access to cash.
But I like the idea too of taking equity because that's something that can grow over time, right? Like, if you
Yeah,
take a dollar
totally.
now in commission or finder's fee, where you could actually defer that dollar, like if you don't need it to pay your bills, right? If you don't need it to go
Right.
to support yourself, why not defer that dollar into equity and then it turns into $5 in 5 years?
Yes.
Is that is part of the thing that you're teaching? Because you said it was
Yeah,
eighty
I
thousand
teach all
dollars
of
in
it.
finder fees, where he could have actually deferred that 80 grand, and then maybe it's 500,000 in 5 years.
Yeah, I teach a- anything that has to do with money and real estate. I teach it.
Hmm.
Whether it's raising money, lending money, parking money, the contracts, the different types of investments. Um, so I teach all that stuff, how to structure partnerships. We bring in experts. Everyone who I work with, you have access to inside of RPM. Um, so it's pretty cool. I mean, you know, if Sean could hear me, he would say, don't say that. But not but, RPM really can serve as your one-stop shop because 8 out of 10 community members inside of RPM come from everybody else's mentorship program because nobody teaches the money side of it. They will say, here's a presentation or here's a script or go talk to friends and family. I literally hold your hand every step of the way.
Mm.
and you're raising multiple six figures in 21 days. And if you need help with the syndication, fine, go talk to Natasha. You need help with creative financing, go talk to Maurice. You want help buying a boutique hotel, go talk to Amanda. So it's all, and that's another reason I like to control, if you will, everybody who comes into our community, because we have those types of relationships in place where we trust each other, we take advice from each other, and we start doing deals together.
Yeah. So let's get into the weeds a little bit as far as, raising private money without, exposing too much from RPM.
Oh, that's
Like,
okay.
what are some of like the tools that you give them? So we got these scripts, right? And they got some education, role play, right? Role play is a
We do
big
that.
thing that a lot of people need to kind of just work through the process. And repetition can solve a lot of issues when you don't want to be saying your script the very first time when you're standing in front of somebody who could potentially give you money.
Yeah, so we practice a lot, like on our weekly live coaching calls. We role play a lot. We have in our group, we have a ton of introverts, but it's crazy because by the time they've gone through the training, they become introverts in this skill set. So, like, we'll do student spotlights. Somebody will be like, I'm struggling with this script or I'm struggling with this presentation because like I give them every basic or advanced presentation, pitch deck, deal analyzer that they need. Um, Tracking tools, contracts. And so wherever they're at in their business, if they're struggling with it, we get on a Tuesday call for 75 minutes. And I'm like, all right, who has questions? Who's raising money? Who's ready to lend money? Who wants to practice the script? Because a lot of it is practice and consistency. Um, Maybe there's something you guys, I've been doing this for so long. If you're going through the training and there's something I forget to give you, like how to obtain a proof of funds letter, for example, let me know. I'll record a new video on it. So it's always changing, right? I'm still an active investor. I'm still buying and selling. So as I test and measure a new strategy, I roll it out to everyone. I haven't even announced it. We're doing our next annual
Mm.
conference in West Palm Beach, June 13, 14, and 15. We've got 200 people coming in an insane speaker lineup. So at all of my conferences, they're implementation events. So it's like laptops are required, cell phones are required. You have access to all of our speakers. You get to ask them questions. We raise money in the first 3 hours of attending the event. So it's amazing breakout sessions, networking. But yeah, if you can get to a live event, you definitely want to do that as well. But it's cool because you just read the script and you see results. But to your point, Benson, we want to practice it so that we don't sound scripted, right?
Yeah, it needs to come off natural because people hear BS, right? They already have their walls up potentially, right? When someone's talking,
Yeah.
and especially if money's in the conversation, people are like, okay, wall up, right? This person is wants something from me, and not just my time; they want my money.
Yeah. So
So, what are
don't
some
like,
strategies to break through those walls and start to build trust?
and that's why, and I didn't say this earlier, but like this is why you guys, there's a time and a place to introduce data to somebody. You cannot come from a place of desperation. Don't be that person on LinkedIn who emails someone and says, we've never met before, but I have an amazing deal. Do you want to lend on it? No, I don't even know who you are, where you live. And so one of the biggest mistakes that we make as investors is we just data dump and we put too much information out there before the timing is right. So the way you build rapport and trust is you start to plant these seeds. You start to educate them bit by bit. So like when somebody says, for example, "Oh, cool. Tell me more. What do you mean you offer double-digit returns backed by real estate?" I'm not going to go into an entire conversation about the benefits to investing in my deal. I'm going to say, you know what? I want to be respectful of your time. Give me your number. I'll give you a call next week. I'll break it down for you to super high level. You call them as promised next week. These are the first few steps, you guys write it down. And all you do is no presentation, you don't ramble. We buy 10 properties in downtown Chicago. I've had my team in place for a few years. I offer everyone 12% annualized. I record a mortgage, you get a notarized promissory note, and there's so much more that comes to it. But right now, if any of that sounds of interest, cool. We'll hop on a Zoom next week and um, I'll talk to you about why I've picked this market and maybe we have a follow-up call and I bring my contractor on. And so it's like one credibility piece at a time, not everything. You don't even talk about numbers till like the fifth conversation.
Yeah.
Um, so that's really where people go wrong is they go straight to the deal. I don't want to know about the deal. I don't even know if I like you. You know what I
Yeah.
mean?
That's one of the most important things is they have to think that you're trustworthy. And like you said
Yeah.
earlier, you used the technical word jive with
Yeah.
them, right? Like sometimes it's like it's so subtle and it's like in your subconscious, sometimes you just like someone or you don't.
Yeah.
Nothing that they can say about a deal, even if the deal sounds amazing, is going to make them want to work with you if they don't like you.
Yeah. Um, oh, what was I gonna say? I don't remember.
Well, I was talking about, you know, the subconscious mind kind of working behind the scenes. And maybe it's people just limiting beliefs, but at the end of the day, they need to like you to want to work with you. They need to know, like, and trust you, right? That's that whole old business adage of
Yeah.
networking. Like they needed to know, like, and trust you before they want to work with you.
Yeah, and everyone's personality is different, you guys. Again, one of the things I love about this isn't corporate America. So be yourself, right? One of our speakers is Jen Gottlieb, and she talks about being your authentic self. And one of the things she told me a few years ago is the mess is the message. So, Amy, talk more about your $1.4 million loss. A lot of people don't do that, like let people learn from it. So it's like I end every single conversation on with these prospective private money lenders, whether it's in person or over the phone, with, hey, this is just the very next step. There's so much more. So if you want to know more, cool. And if you don't, no pressure. Like that's okay too. I end every single conversation with that. Cool, no pressure. Cool, no pressure. And they always say, yeah, cool. What's the next step? Because I keep it so high level. I don't just like overwhelm them with 10 different PowerPoint presentations. Like that's too much. You're going to lose your audience.
Yeah. And at the end of the day, too, like when it comes to evaluating a deal, they're going to get to a point where they just trust that you've already evaluated the deal and the numbers make sense. And
Yeah.
they're going to say like, you know what, if Amy believes this deal is going to work, I'm okay with it because
Yeah.
numbers that they're all just estimates anyway. Like, yeah, we
Yeah.
believe it's going to do this much and we believe it's going to do this. And this is your potential ROI. And they're just numbers that people pull out. Anyone can pull out numbers.
After you've done a good job of taking your audience through at least six credibility pieces, at some point, they're going to be like, you know what? Take my money. I don't need the contract. They're going to want to do a deal on a handshake. But guess what, you guys? You're still going to treat it like a business, whether
Yeah.
it's a friend, family member, or not. You still put the appropriate paperwork in place. I have had Wall Street investment bankers say, I don't need the credibility pieces. Just show me the numbers. Show me the numbers. So somebody like that, fine, okay. But hey, just so you know, Kim, I do have um 20 different credibility pieces that I use to build rapport and trust. So absolutely, I know you get it. I want to respect your time. I'll go straight to the numbers. But if at any point you want to see my org chart, my target market, my buying criteria, just let me know and I can send those over to you. My 5-page list of frequently asked questions, 6-page list of FAQs, just let me know.
Mhm.
Because I want them to know that, hey, I am a polished professional. Like I know what I'm doing. And I'm only going to the numbers because you're insisting. That's not my standard process.
Yeah. Can you talk more about these credibility pieces? Like what are some examples of these? Because you need to work through the process before they know you. They need to make sure that you're trustworthy. What are some of these tools that you use?
Yeah. So a lot of them, so the very first credibility piece is I have a general private money presentation. This is also another huge mistake that people make. And it's the very first presentation I take someone through, which is three things. Who am I and what do I do? It's one page of my goals, basically. The second thing is, what's in it for you? What's in it for you, Benson, the private money lender? Why should you lend me your hard-earned dollars? It's like 5 bullet points. And the third thing is, what's in it for me? So why do I work with PMLs like you instead of going to the bank? That's it. That's all it is. I don't talk about my
Mm.
team. I don't talk about any numbers, nothing. I don't even talk about contracts. It's so that's one credibility piece. And then I end it with a call to action. So, if you want to know more, I can email you the next credibility piece, my 6-page list of FAQs. We can hop on a follow-up Zoom. I can take you through my org chart so you have better clarity on who makes up my team, how long my general contractor and lawyer have been doing this. Or, it's your call. We can talk. Another credibility piece is contracts. I can show you the contracts I use. It's anywhere from 3 to 6 different contracts, depending on the deal. Another credibility piece is my deal analyzer. One of them is my advanced presentation. Oh, you want to lend out of a retirement account? Okay, cool. Let's hop on a follow-up call. I'll take you through my 401k presentation. So it's a credibility piece is the data that you're using, all the controls you've put into your real estate business to build rapport and trust with these prospective private money lenders until they say, you know what, Amy, I get it. Yes. So on average, it's like 6 different credibility pieces or touch points until you get the verbal commitment. There's no LOI. I'm not going to make anyone sign a letter of intent. I'm never going to hold anyone's money hostage. You want to cash out in 2 weeks? Cool. Here's your money, principal and interest. I'm just never going to do business with you again. I don't say that, right? Unless it's for like an emergency. But those are the credibility pieces, are all the different educational things that you put in place to protect, secure, and ensure you're a private money lender.
Yeah. And to show them that you've thought it all through, your legitimate business.
Yeah.
And ultimately, they're going to get their money back with some return on investment, right?
Exactly.
That's the goal.
Yeah. And at some point, normally the third meeting, I tell them, hey, worst case, I can't guarantee you anything. And I say it just like that. Worst case scenario, you have to be okay never seeing your $100,000 again. However, the probability of that happening is not likely, right? For all these reasons, all these controls we put into place, which are those credibility pieces. And for me, because I've experienced bad times, I talk about that. I lost money. I paid back as many people as I could. Here's how I remedied the situation. And when you get in front of these hard questions early on, your private money lenders will respect you for it and trust you that much more. So it's like, I am an open book. If I'm going to sign a personal guarantee, I'm going to show you I have assets to back up a personal guarantee. Because we all know it's nothing but a bunch of words on paper, right? And if you have the right asset protection in place, which I do, good luck trying to get any of my money, but I talk about this stuff too. Yeah, sure, I'll sign a PG, just so you know, like I've got insane asset protection. My lawyers, Mark Kohler and Matt Sorensen. So no problem, I'll sign a PG. But even if I don't, my goal is to pay you back out of pocket anyways, even if I take a loss, because that's just who I am, right? So it's just having those weird, awkward conversations in the beginning.
Yeah. Yeah. And that builds the trust, right? Like once you get it out there and they know you're a real person and, you've got that track history of even when things go wrong, still paying people back, then that's going to be the thing for them. It's going to help them, to say yes.
Yeah.
Right?
I mean, you guys, at some point, we're all going to lose money. So talk about it. And even if you didn't pay people back for whatever reason, talk about what you did or didn't do. Like, I still have people whose money I lost, like investing with me. It's, so except for the 2 people, but that's okay.
I'm sure there's a story behind these 2 people. They
There's
just
a story.
Probably won't take the money now. Like they're like, we don't want it.
No, they still want. I'm going to pay them back unexpected. It's not a lot of money, but we won't get into that today.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's just understand what you're doing and why you're doing it. Because if you encounter somebody and they sense any sort of timidness or uncertainty in your voice, you have forever lost them as a prospective private money lender. So to the newbies out there, don't get out there and start saying things that you can't back up with answers or data. Even if you're not a newbie, like if you can't answer the hard questions, if you haven't solidified or, why you're doing this, and if you don't really have clarity on what's in it for you and what's in it for them, then don't start raising money. You're not ready. Like right. So you have to also really believe in what you're doing. If you don't believe in it, you're not going to have success raising capital.
So you mentioned something earlier, that an LOI, right? The letter of intent. In the syndication world, there's like these soft commits that people are really looking forward to. And that's where a lot of deals die, right?
Uh-huh.
Because people say, yes, I'll do it. Yeah, we want to do it. And you get all these people that want to do it. But then at the end of the day, a wire has to happen, right? Like, how do you teach around that? Because sometimes there's like this world where things just get stuck. People
Yeah.
don't know how to move to write that check or to send that wire.
Well, this is why module 4 is all about your follow-up system, because you may not have a deal for another 3 months. So how do we stay in front of them so they don't forget about us?
Yeah.
And if somebody said, yes, I want to invest with you, and it's time for them to process a wire and they don't do it, this is why we never stop raising private money. I don't care how good you have it. We never stop raising private money because these things will happen. Oh, I lent to somebody else, or oh, I changed my mind. Okay, cool. Then you go to the next person that you've been building rapport and trust with, and you get them to lend on it. So, but that's going to happen, I think less than a handful of times has somebody who said yes not been in a position to lend. And mostly it's because they just lent to somebody else. And actually, this happened a few weeks ago. I had been following up with this lady for a year. And she goes, we went in a different direction. I go, well, does that mean you lent to somebody else or you're not investing in real estate? She goes, no, that means I lent to somebody else. I go, that's okay. Just tell me, because I don't want to keep bothering you with these follow-up phone calls or emails or text messages if you're not interested. So no problem. And I was very nice and she was very understanding. I said, look, you're never going to hear from me again. If things change, you know where to find me, and, you know, good luck with your investor.
Mhm.
I also say I'm always still here for you as a resource. If you ever have any follow-up questions, please let me know. But it's like I'm very direct. I don't play the negotiation game. Are you interested or not? Like, I'm not gonna again make you sign an LOI, but don't tell me you want to lend if you're not serious about it. And that I
Yeah.
will say, but in a more subtle manner.
Yeah. It's almost like the takeaway, right?
Yes.
In sales, where you're like, okay, well, I guess this isn't for you. And they're like, wait, no, I didn't say it wasn't for me.
Right, exactly.
Right. It's just a more subtle way of doing it.
Yeah.
But I like the follow up too. That's a key part of just keeping these people in the ecosystem, right? You're staying
Yeah.
relevant, right? Maybe you could update them with like a newsletter. Here's some of the deals that we
Totally.
closed recently.
So you have
Here's the ROI on this deal and this deal.
Yeah, absolutely. So we have in RPM, we have two follow-up systems. One for people who have said, yes, I want to invest with you in your next deal. And one for people who have already invested with you. Because once somebody lends you money, you want to focus on three things. Number one, how do you get them to reinvest? Number two, how do you get them to increase their investment amount? And then number three, this is how you keep that momentum going. How do you get them to introduce you to their trusted network of prospective private money lenders? So, and those follow-up systems look very different from one another.
Yeah, I can imagine. Well, there's so many moving parts in this world, which is why if anyone's interested in raising private money for their own deals or doing a fund of funds or a syndication deal, like you should definitely reach out to Amy. Amy, where can people find you? You're probably on social media. You mentioned YouTube a couple times, and like where
Yeah.
can they go and find you online?
Well, thank you for all of that. I actually respond and manage all of my social media. The best place is going to be Instagram, which is just at Amy Mahjoory. Benson, I'll give you the link for the free download to my book. And then, of course, you guys come on out to West Palm Beach, June 13th, 14th, and 15th. Just go to raisingpm.com/live event, and we will see you there.
Awesome. So you got an in-person event coming up where they can come and meet you and get some hands-on training. And then the download, you guys go check out this download. It's an entire book that she's going to give you to get you started in strategic networking and starting to change the mindset, right? Which is probably
Yeah,
the first
step
and most
one.
important step. So check her out. Amy, thank you so much
Thank
for
you,
taking the time.
Benson.
You're always
Appreciate.
so good. You always give us so much valuable information. I just wish you the best in 2025 and looking forward to doing some more stuff with you and your group. But thank you.
Thank you. I appreciate you so much, and we'll talk soon.
Awesome. All right, everybody. Thanks for listening to this edition of the REI Hacker Podcast. Keep an eye out for more amazing guests just like Amy, who have tons of information and experience, tips, tricks, and amazing, tools and courses and ways that they can help you take your real estate investing business to the next level. So thanks for listening, and we'll see you next time. Bye.
That's a wrap on today's Real Estate Revelations. Thank you for tuning into the REI Hacker Podcast. Remember, every property has a story, and every deal is a lesson. Until next time, keep hacking the real estate world.